What's going on, guys? We're doing a short video today with variables and data types. See what they're about, see what they do, how they work. And we're gonna get straight into it. We're gonna go over the data types first. On line 20 here, this is an int variable, otherwise known as an integer. It is represented as 4 bytes and it is only a whole number, which means it cannot be a decimal. So it can't be 0.7 or it will cause red squiggly lines, and we do not like those. Next is the simple double. Double is a decimal and it consists of 8 bytes. Double has a range of a lot. It's around the scientific notation of like 308, I think, and it's absolutely insane. So very large numbers the double data type can hold. And so like 3.14, like pi, it can hold that. Go down to line 26, this is a float. This is 4 bytes, and this is just like a double, except for in smaller size. So the double is precise to 15 places, and the float is precise to 7 places. In order to use a float, you have to put an F at the end, so Java knows that this variable is a float. Next data type we have is the Boolean, which can only be represented as true or false. 1 being true and 0 being false. So if I were to output this variable of pi, it would output 1. 1 means true. Next variable we have is the next data type we have is a char, a char, a char, however you say it. I call it char or char. It consists of 2 bytes, and basically it is a letter only and is represented as single quotations and not double quotations. So when you create a string variable, you use double quotations, or when you use system.out, you use double quotations. Well, a letter, you only use a single quotation. Next, we have a kind of different design based on the integer. So a short and long are only integers, and basically they're just smaller sizes that you can use. So a short is a small number that is a range of around negative 32,000 and some and positive 32,000 and some. An integer range is a negative 2 billion to positive 2 billion and some. So that just kind of helps your program just a little smaller. And long is the exact opposite. Long is a large number. It's around, I think it's 9 trillion, negative 9 trillion and some, and a positive 9 trillion and some. So it's very large numbers. So I'm going to show you how to declare a variable. So that's all the data types you can use to declare a variable. Now if we go down to line 41, actually let's jump up to the very top here. So we'll go to line 20, and this is how you declare a variable. So you want to use the data type first, which is an int, and then you want to give the name of the variable, which we call whole number, and then the assignment operator, which is the equal sign, and 3, which is what we assign whole number to be. In other words, it's called a literal. So to explain that again, we want to create an int, call it age. We want to make age equal to 20. We're going to go over that one more time with double. So double is the data type, decimal is the variable name, equal sign is the assignment operator, and 3.14 is what it's equal to. So throughout our program, when we use decimal or age or whole number, in the case of age, when we use age, it's going to be represented as 20. When we use decimal, it's going to be represented as 3.14, and that'll be explained throughout this video. So we'll go down to line 43 and 44. We are created a variable named height and a variable named age, and we are going to print those out. So in printing those out, you don't use double quotations. All you do is just put the variable name in the print statement. So if we run that real quick, we should get 5.9 and 20. As you can see here, we get 5.9 and 20. If you change those variables, it will change as well when you do the output, 7.5 and 20. So our first focus moment in the video, variables must be declared before they can be used. So with the variable age, if we move age below the print statement, where we use it right here, it will show red squiggly lines. and we don't like those. So what that's saying is Java is read from top to bottom when creating variables. So right now, it doesn't know what age is because we declared it below it. So in order to use age, we have to create the variable first, and then we can use age. Same thing goes with height. So we will move down to line 54 here. And we're not declaring any variables, but I am going to show you how to display multiple terms. So most of the time, you don't want to do all this and create a bunch of .printlns because it just looks very confusing, and we want to create just one println. And if you want to display multiple lines or multiple variables, we're going to use concatenation, or in other words, append or add on to, and that is the symbol of a plus sign. I like saying concatenation to make it sound really smart. So with the plus sign, you just want to use it every time you add something onto it. So we're going to say my age is, and we're going to add the variable age, which is going to say 20, and we're going to say plus. No, we're not adding as in addition, we're going to add another statement. So we're going to add another statement with my height is, and then we're going to add another variable, which is height. So we're going to run that, and I'll show you where it is. So my age is 20, my height is 7'5". When using concatenation, we all dumb dog. When using concatenation, we want to use the plus sign operator, and when you go to the next line, you do have to put the plus sign. So if we got rid of the plus sign, it doesn't know what it's saying because all it's reading is this right here. So in order to make it look neat, we use a plus sign, and we put the other half at the bottom. So we're going to skip down to line 61 now. We're going to use a string variable. This is not a primitive data type, and what I mean by that is it's not a keyword and it's not blue. So string is actually an object or a class. So it's a part of Java, and it can be used with different behaviors. So with a variable named age, you can't use a dot operator because it's not a class. String is a class. So if we use name, it has all these behaviors that you can use. So one of them is like the to upper, where you want to make it all uppercase, and you can use that. That's why it's not blue. So we have the data type, which is string. It is a data type. It's not a primitive data type. We have name, which is the variable name, and we assign it to be the chosen one. So name is equal to the chosen one. Another example below on line 63 is just where we create a variable about me, and we give it some kind of statement. Just like the car, you use single quotations, but when you create a string, you use double quotations. Come down to line 67. We're going to be changing variables and using variables in different ways here, so you can kind of get some more examples and wrap your head around it. On line 68, we create two variables, num1 and num2. This is a different way to create variables. It kind of makes fewer lines of code and makes your code look neater. We're creating two ints, but you can see right here I don't declare num2 to be an int. But I do, it's just a different way. So when you create that comma at the end there, it's basically saying the next name variable that you type is going to be an int. You can do that with double, float, and all the data types as well. So we're going to make total, which is equal to num1 times num2. Now this is the multiplication operator. You can use plus, you can use plus, you can use minus, whatever you want it to be. We're going to use multiplication. So right here, we use the concatenation, and we're just printing 5 times 10 is 50. And I'll run that real quick so you can see that it actually does do it. So 5 times 10 is 50. One thing you need to know is that the variables can only be holding one thing at a time. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So right here, we make a variable hold 50, num1 times num2. Right here, we make a variable total hold 15, which is num1 plus num2. So what I mean by that is the variable total will change from 50 to 15. It will not hold 50 and 15, and we can choose from which one. So as you can see here, we change the variable total, and we're going to print out total. So 5 plus 10 is 15. And anytime we use total after this, it will still be 15. Another thing is you can make variables equal to each other. So in this statement, we make num1, which is 5, equal to num2, which is 10. So basically we're saying num1 now equals 10 and num2 now equals 10. So all we're changing though is num1. We're not changing num2, we're just changing num1. If we reversed it and said num2 equals num1, now we're saying num2 is equal to 5. So we're going to print that out, and I'll show you. So num1 is 5, and num2 is 5. So that kind of wraps up the basic structure of variables and using data types. One other thing I need to show you is how to create a constant, or in other words, a final. So a final or a constant, however you want to say it, in C++ and C# it's called a constant, but in Java it's called a final. So what this is, it's a variable that cannot be changed throughout the program. So like a financial company wants to put 15% rate. Well, that rate never changes. So for simplicity, you don't want that rate to ever change and then mess up a bunch of whole calculations. So what we do is we declare final, give it the data type, name the variable, and we give it the literal, which is 0.15 or 15%, and then we can use that rate throughout the program by just calling it. And the last thing I want to say is what an identifier is. An identifier and a variable are kind of the same thing. So an identifier is basically whatever, it's a programmer defined name. So as you can see, a keyword is a program defined name. It's a keyword. So Java creates an int, but we create a whole number. So when people say identifiers, they're basically meaning the variable that you created. So this would be the keyword, this would be the identifier or variable that you created. You have the assignment and you have the literal. And the literal is kind of self-explanatory. It's the number that you give the variable that you named. That's the last thing I want to say. If you have any questions, just post them in the comments and I will definitely answer them quickly. Last thing is I'll show you the focus points of this video.